So I was just wondering, especially in the light of Do the Right Thing, how you feel that race has been represented like over the years, how it's changed since earlier movies, and if stereotypes still exist, or do you think that it's improved much or not at all?
I certainly think that they still exist. I think part of the reason that this movie is so effective is when it actually came out, there was just so much controversy, about how it was going to be. And I think to a certain extent, people don't realize that it's still such an issue and a problem, and that even though some do tend to actually address problems, they do come to a conclusion that does seem to be, this is it, it's done, and we're good. Where it's also very much still a very complicated issue that isn't always addressed in its complexity, to let us know that it's still an ongoing conversation. There's still a lot of issues to be addressed. So that's what I would say, mainly with things lately, that it's still, kind of a cut and dried issue that isn't completely finished.
My name is James Jenkins. I am a screenwriter, actor, director, stand-up comic. I don't know. I just do every little bit of everything. As far as getting cast in films, different films, there's a unwritten kind of rule thing where you see whether it be Asians or Black African Americans as one way in a film. So always the action star, unless he has a name, like unless he's Denzel Washington or unless he's Wesley Snipes, he can never be that action guy. And so I guess with that we just have to make our own films, like independently, like we're making this one. I'm a vampire. What else?
Like what were you saying about, like, when you go into the casting, you feel like you can't be yourself. You're supposed to be like, non-threatening kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I look, regular, but often when you come in, it's like, okay, well, he's a gang member, or okay, he can play a street guy, and unless you come in like Carlton off the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with your shirt tucked in, and you sit there and you go, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, anything sir, yes sir, and not really express and be who you is, and it's okay, well, we'll put him in because he's squeaky clean. We can make him that guy, so he's a squeaky clean guy we can put on, right after American Idol or something. But never ever that guy there. He's not gonna be on there. We got to put a 5-minute censor break in front of him because you never know what he's gonna say. But it's just a struggle. But you have to realize that. Once you realize it, then you just like, okay, I'm just gonna be the best I can be. And then usually, most of the time, it's occasionally never gonna always be perfect, but most of the time, you at least I do, because I'll come in and people, I was in a film called The Dog, the horror movie. I went to the audition, and the role was just for like a little sidekick guy. But during the audition, just me being me, I ended up getting a second lead to the actor and becoming one of, they even wrote more lines in the script just because when I came in with the energy. Bam, I was happy about that. That don't happen every day, cause some people, but it happened then, so it can happen. When I played Tom Robinson in Kill a Mockingbird, everybody's like, oh, well, they were going to have a problem with using the word nigger and this and that. I was like, please, it's not a problem. This is art and it's beautiful and we're going to make it happen. And I actually made people cry. You can look that up on, you can Google or Bing it. You can do that. I made the audience cry. So, I'm versatile. And I write my own scripts. Working on another film right now in the basement, actually writing a script. A horror film was a black serial killer, because you don't see that. It's like people say, well, why not? Because you just don't see it. Who's like, why not? Because ain't nobody making it. Not that means it's not a good story. Don't mean I can't be the next Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers. Maybe Jason, Jigsaw. I can be one of them, but you gotta make the film.
So, I mean, as far as the parts that you're able to try out for, either that you see in movies or that you audition for, I mean, do you think that there's enough parts? Do you think that there's a lot, or do you think that either that a lot of them are maybe stereotypical, or that they're just kind of people put them in just for the sake of it, like, oh, I guess we need a more diverse cast? Or do you feel like there's a good, I don't know what the word is, in movies nowadays?
No, actually, I think that there could be more. A lot of the programs and things in the school, they have, I don't know, I guess it's geographical, because like if I was at a video editor for Jackson Community College, and it's predominantly white, and so all of the stage productions and plays were predominantly white. So a lot of the African American and Asians, they wouldn't even go and audition or try out because already, Little Mary Sunshine or stuff like that. It's like, okay. So what I did though, and I ended up being in a musical. So for one, we just have to maybe put ourselves in those positions more and show that we can do that. So if we go in and say, okay, I don't care if this part you didn't think it was for me, I'm going to show up and show you that I can do it just as good. We have to do that. But at the same time, until that happens, they still should say, okay, well, there's other plays. There's A Raisin in the Sun. I mean, there are other plays that they could put on. So as far as that goes, just show up and just do your thing. And if you're good, you'll make it. And if you're not, get better.
So do you think that there'd be like better representations in films if there were more directors, screenwriters, if there were more opportunities for minority filmmakers?
There are a lot of young filmmakers of Black African Americans, Asians, but what they tend to do is, in order to sell the film, then even though they have their own stories to tell, they'll tell it this way so that they can get on the bigger screen instead of saying, you know what, like Spike, I'm going to make my film my way. We have to do that. We have to, no matter who you is, whether you're Mexicans, because George, they got stories to tell. George Lopez, they got stories to tell you. It don't matter. You just have to do it your way and say, this is good, and I don't have to conform to fit your box.
Right, because you think there's like kind of like an unsaid or maybe, said like pressure to kind of cater to, the general like white middle class. Like don't, cause any waves.
Right, don't cause waves. Make sure you can sell tickets to these people. Because they don't really care about whether the film is good. Well, a lot of times they don't. If it's good or none of that. What matters is, we can sell 50 million tickets. How many times you see movies that suck?
Yeah.
All the time. And you go like, wait a minute. And then people you see the lines say, oh, great film, great movie. And then you watch it and you're like, it sucks. But somebody went to see it.
So you think like filmmakers like Spike Lee have worked because they're not afraid to just make the audience feel comfortable. They're trying to tell it like it is.
I seen an interview with Spike. He said that he was blessed to never have to make a film for the money. And perhaps that's why his films are like they are. Because if he was making them for the money, then he'd have to make the story they're paying him to make, instead of telling the story he wants to tell.